But now let's get into the business of communicating. So what does make juries listen today? I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's right. There are 3 principles that make people listen always, from the beginning. The number 1 reason people listen to anything is self-interest. Why are you here? Because it's good for you, good for your career. What are you going to learn? What can you bring home? How can you adapt this? A. B. I want to meet other women. I want to network. I want to find out. DRI. Gee, that's a good idea. Maybe I can use something here. Me, right? Number 2 is who's telling? Now, of course, you know, here we are, and Lana made this big thing about me and blah, 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 Paul Newman, and I'll never tell you about that. But what was more important was, you know, so it should sound like I know something. President of the world. Okay, she must know something. But the big one is how I relate to you directly. That's what counts. And you know whether you want to keep listening or not. And if you think about it, when you go away, what a good speaker. Oh, I could listen to that. Remember? You've heard that. Said it many times. True? It has to do with your evaluation of this human being to you. Multiply this 150 times for each juror. Because remember the jurors. What are they doing? They're sitting in a box, being asked to do the most difficult thing in the world, which is to make a decision. Why is it? How many of you love making a decision? And why not? Because you could be wrong, right? And you'd hate it. So you go shopping with your friends, and here you're going to buy a car, but first you have to talk to. You're always busy checking it out before you make the decision. They're going to decide about the law. Most of them have never even been in a courtroom, but you know what they have done. Have they ever watched every Law and Order and every Boston Legal and on? So they think they know, and they love to use the words. It's marvelous to interview them afterwards because they love using the words. You know, shadow of a doubt and so on. What's really important, though, is they are totally dependent on you as the people who are going to clarify it for them, help them out, so that they don't end up making a mistake. They need you. They care very much about you and what you can help them with, so that when they go into the, and remember another thing, this is important. In the jury room, we relate back to how people are in groups. There are talkers, non-talkers, arguers, people who want to be heard. They don't know anything, but they sure want to be heard. The ones who fold because, gee, yeah, I guess so. I think, yeah, you're right. Or, I don't know. Because people love first to be loved and belong in the group. The strong ones will kind of lay out what the reality is, and then the other ones either fold, or once in a while you get one of the arguers. Your job is to give them enough material so that they have something to either argue with or decide on their own. But if they don't understand, and the case just went by, then they fall right back into that old group pattern. You know, there are leaders, and there are followers. And there are arguers, and there are bystanders. And you need to see that how you communicate, your case can be marvelous, and you're really smart. But unless you can get it across to them, this non-listening, independent jury, because the seniors and boomers and everybody also use these electronic devices now. So how you come across to them, which makes them able to listen, believe in, and stay tuned, is crucial. So what's the third reason people listen? It's how you tell it. Because today we need special techniques for telling in order to hang on to that group. Guess what the attention span of the American public is? Would you love a minute and a half? It's the length of the news stories on television. That was where we got trained. That's about enough facts. Okay, now I got it. And for most people, that is enough. They will not go to the Atlantic and read and, you know, then maybe look it up on Wikipedia. But most importantly, you have to hang on to them because your case is long and it's complicated. You know how people feel about learning complicated things? It embarrasses them. It's like grown-ups learning to ski. When was the last time you fell down? So most people don't want to do it because they fall down and it feels dumb and I can't get up and I'm clumsy and awkward and I know how to live my life. I don't want to face the fact that all of a sudden I can't do these things. This is not good. So therefore, your dependency on their understanding and their dependency on your helping them is the real dynamic in the courtroom. So what we're going to do now is talk about which of these three do you think is most important? Shall I show you? They need to believe in the teller. They need to like you. They need to feel you're on their wavelength, that you understand life as they do, instead of bringing in kinds of issues and considerations of life that they know nothing about. Okay? So let's see how people decide on credibility. Isn't that important? Now this will shock you. How many of you think, well, why don't I ask for numbers? What percentage of your credibility is what you say? Give me some numbers. 10, 40, somebody said 70%? Okay. You want to see the truth? I'm sure you're intensely studying, and that's why you're not talking. Okay. First impressions are made up of the following. 55% is body language. 38% is tone of voice. How many of you knew when your father was furious with you? Just the first name, right? You didn't need any more. Alice? That was enough. And how do you feel about somebody saying, now, the way that we're going to do this is, versus, the way that we're going to do this. Do you see what it does? And it has to do with intention. The way that we're going to do this means you're going to do what I say, and I'm the boss. No deviations here, yes? The other one says, I'm inviting you. You know what we're going to do? This is how we're going to do this, so that you know we have joined. We is true, okay? So that tone of voice is key. 7% is words. Now here's the appalling thing. 93% of your behavior is unconscious. You don't know what you're doing with your body language. See, I didn't know I was going to do that. And you don't know what your tone of voice sounds like, right? Now, the body language and the tone of voice come from your intention. Who are you to this jury? Are you critic, teacher, sermonizer, know-it-all, remonstrator, helper, almost friend? And when you decide who you are to them, what is your job? Like I had to decide when I came here, what do I want to do for you? I want to tell you all this stuff that I know that I've studied very hard. I want so much for you to know it because I want you to use it. So my intention is one of kind of, you feel energy, don't you? You feel me really wanting to do this. Suppose I were to do it this way. Now there's a great deal to know about what has happened in our society, and I think it's important for you to understand the dynamics. Notice the difference in the words. How isolating is it? I'm up here, you're down there. I've even moved away from you, see? Now it all has to do with what's going on in here. And that's what causes. Body language is punctuation. It's visible punctuation. Your tone of voice comes from your interest or your feeling toward them, or how nervous you are, right? But it all reflects, what are you doing here? And I would recommend that one of the first things you think about, knowing who your jury is now, how do you relate to them? What do they need from you? And how can you best give it?